Ooh. Oh. Whoa. The Holdovers is directed by Alexander Payne and stars Paul Giamatti. Dominic Sessa? Yeah, this is out in limited release. Well, it's getting a wider release now, guys. It's a bit of an art house film. 2 hours and 13 minutes is the runtime, and you feel that runtime, but the standout here is the acting by Paul Giamatti. He plays a professor who has to take care of some kids over the Christmas break. A cranky history teacher at a remote prep school is forced to remain on campus over the holidays with a troubled student who has no place to go. Yeah, you can see that troubled student right there. And you can see that Paul Giamatti's doing something with his eye there. He's got like a lazy eye. It kind of switches from side to side throughout the film, which is a little bit, yeah, what's going on with that? Davine Joy Randolph plays Mary in this, Mary Lamb, and she does a fantastic job. Kind of like as the cook, and she's like a supportive character. Not only in like as the cast, but as to one of the main characters there, played by Dominic Sessa. He's the lone student, troublemaker sort of. And it's long. It's a long movie. So know that going in. Is it a slow burn? Yeah, it is. But the performances stand out right up off the bat. Is this one of Alexander Payne's best movies? No. I still think Descendants is his best. I know that a lot of people like some of his other pictures better, like Election and Sideways. It was Sideways. People really liked Sideways. Nebraska was pretty good too, but The Descendants is my favorite. That's what introduced a lot of us to Shailene Woodley, George Clooney, and Alexander Payne directs this movie, The Holdovers, which was decent. But as I said, there was that length problem. And the length problem, well, that kind of weighed it down for me. And I saw headlines like this, where it's like, The Holdovers writer reveals the script was originally meant for a TV series. And when I think back about the movie, I'm like, I can see that. Because it happened in like these segments, and it just kind of goes on and on in some of these segments. And they don't really pay off. They set up things that just kind of like fizzle out, and they're not really part of the main arc. You could see that it was meant to be a series. And I think maybe this would have been better as a series, a limited series of maybe 3 or 4 episodes. Because I said it in my Straight Out of the Theater, well, I didn't do it one, but I, right out of the theater, I was like, that felt like there was some story threads in there that could have been let go. Because there's a setup where it's not only him that gets left behind at the start. There's some other kids there that do get left behind, and there's kind of like, you thought it would be kind of like a little bit like the Breakfast Club, where it's like, okay, so it's not going to be just, I understand that he'll be the main character, but these other kids will be involved too. But we spend time with these other kids, and then they just kind of like disappear at one point in the movie, and it's kind of like, what was the point of that then, right? Why couldn't we just get straight to the meat? What's one of, what was it, Vonnegut or something that said that try to start the story closer to the end as possible, as close to the end as possible? Yeah, this one does not. But it does start off establishing characters well, like Paul Giamatti coming in with the hard, gritty, cranky teacher. He's got a lot of, he fails his students, and it does a really good job in that sense. So let's go over to the score sheet and try to postulate some kind of a score here. So acting, directing, and story are of a possible 2 points each. Cinematography and score are out of a possible 1 point each. Acting, as I said, Paul Giamatti. But then, the woman who played the cook, the other supporting character, also did a great job. So, and I actually think Giamatti and Dominic Sessa does a good job. It's just the story lets them down a bit. Giamatti just chews it up when he's in frame. So I'll give acting a full 2 points. Directing, things were competently shot, But if you are really a stickler for details, it's supposed to be taking place in 1971. And when they go into like the city and stuff like that, you can see in the background there's cars with like uh, uh, sunroofs, retractable sunroofs and stuff. Like, no, guys. Now the story. It's an interesting premise. So you get that. Um, was it meant as a series beforehand? Possibly. The story does have some laughs at times, so I'll give it that. Um, what's it trying to say towards the end? Stick with your dreams. Yeah, most kids have, trouble climbing up the ladder at times, and that's pretty much what it is about, sort of. Does it really pay off to me at the end? Or do you leave the movie theater feeling inspired? No, you just kind of feel like at the end of the day, well, that's a movie where a bunch of stuff happened. It wasn't terrible. It's long though, guys. 2 hours and 13 minutes, and that's to the detriment of the film, uh, and the execution of it, and that's where I got to dock points. So, what are people saying about this movie right now? Let's go over to the tomato meter and take a look. Wow, 96 by the critics, 90 by the audience. So people are resonating with it. My criticisms about the story and about the eye. Watch the eye, guys, when you watch this. It's going to frustrate you when you see it. It'll be like, wait a minute, I thought it was on this side. No, now it's on that side. What's going on here, man? Anyway, that's a minor thing. Wow, that's a lot higher than I thought it would be. Like as I said, there's some really good tender moments in here that do pay off. They show you things instead of just a character telling you things, right? There's a scene where he's sitting there in the church, and she comes in, and there's like scenes where there's no dialogue, but you understand what's going on, and you understand the emotions between the two characters. So for that, maybe I'll give a little bit more credit to the directing. Yeah, I'll give it a little bit more. But it's these three that are like carrying the movie, right? That you're involved with. And Paul Giamatti's character does a great job. But yeah, it's mostly those three. And there's some fun dialogue. Yeah, dialogue-wise, it's sharp. You can see at times. It's funny. And things come around full circle towards the end. But it does feel like there's a lot crammed in there, and I can't give it as high as 96. I can't. Let's take a look at some of what the snapshot reviews say. Anybody that jumps off the page at me here? No, not really. CNN says nothing about the Holdovers sounds particularly special, and it's yet one of director Alexander Payne's best films. Very funny, occasionally touching, and a sterling example of the bonds that can be forged by an unlikely family. Yeah, and that's what happens. Bonds that happen from an unlikely family. I like that. Maybe I will be a little bit more relaxed on my final score. I want to try to find somebody who didn't like it. Okay, Book and Film Globe said, sour but also weirdly cloying, full of sympathy for the working man, yet also strangely pretentious. A nostalgic tribute to naturalistic 1970s cinema that somehow completely misses the point of those movies. Well, that's a little bit too nuanced for my taste. I never grew up on 70s movies. James, Star Wars came out in the 70s. Oh, maybe, I guess. Okay, somebody else who didn't like it. Film Festival Today says, the result mixes charm and smarm in equal measure, never quite resolving into a meaningful exercise despite the strenuous efforts of all involved. So he's conceding there that, yeah, at least everybody who saw it really enjoyed it. Who's this? Jimmy Cage. No, we don't need to. Oh, Richard Roper. Okay, we'll end with that. Nearly 20 years after Alexander Payne and Paul Giamatti teamed up for Sideways, they reunited for the wintry character study, with Giamatti once again turning in a masterful work as a hard-tipping misanthrope. All right, Holdovers. Now, as I said, I don't think I can be quite as high as that. There's value here, guys. There is acting, and there's some minor payoffs. So let's finish out this score sheet and round out this review. So I decided based on that, I will give directing 1.5. Yeah. Story, I don't know. I don't know yet. Watchability factor. Watch it because Giamatti. It's got an interesting premise. Uh, yeah, so that's a full point there. Is it a 6.5, James? No, is it the same as the Marvels? No, I do think it does deserve a little bit of a second look. That maybe that runtime will pay off a little bit more later on a second viewing. It'll be like, okay, now I understand why that's there. Uh, maybe cinematography, serviceable. Score, like soundtrack, serviceable. Can I scratch out anything more for it though? Do I like? It's not one that I want to own on Blu-ray or anything like that. It just happened. It's there. It's a competently made film. Yeah, I'll stick with that. That's where I land. 7 out of 10 for the Holdovers, guys. Um, did you go out and see it? Are you going to go see it? It'll get a wider release because when it opened up in the theaters this weekend, it only had 778 theaters. So it will get a bit of a wider release, especially now that we're in an award season. And that's a good return for 778 theaters, 3.2 million. So people who are seeing it, as I said, are liking it. And, I'm just a little bit in the minority here. Just maybe because I do follow these things. I look at headlines like, is The Holdovers really a 70s movie or is it the new Green Book? Yeah, as I said, there's things going on in the background where if you pay attention to the cars and stuff like that, um, yeah, we'd be like, wait a minute, this was supposed to be the 70s. Uh, okay, fine. But yeah, Paul Giamatti, guys, I would say is worthwhile to go see this. And I think you will get awards consideration. So based on that, as movie fans, The Holdovers is worth seeing. 7 out of 10 is what I give it in my book. It could be maybe 7.5, but I just don't know where I would find that. So you guys, if you've seen it, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, and we will talk about it. What else can you find here on Mirror Domains? Well, if you like these kinds of movie reviews, my review for the Marvels is up on the channel. Priscilla, yeah, that might be your bag. I enjoyed Priscilla as well. Five Nights at Freddy's is up on the channel, and right now we're watching Survivor Season 45 and Hell's Kitchen Season 22. Lots of fun watching those series. We watched the full series of Fall of House of Usher. That's up on the channel right now. Great series. Great series. Of course, then we do movie news throughout the week where we talk about various trending movie news headlines, new movie news headlines. And yeah, hopefully you'll come join us. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on all the other social medias. You're watching Mirror Domains. Okay, so that will be cut out and put up on the channel later on. Let's pull up some more headlines.